single day I'm gonna make something great. That's my way. Every single day I'm gonna...
Hi everybody, I'm going to show you how I make my venison salami. This is a Parmanello style salami, so it's a really nice Italian classic really. So I've got my culture starter here, some curing salt and the actual seasoning, and this seasoning is beautiful. It's got like a really nice gingery, nutmeggy smell to it, and I like this one. With the culture, it comes in powder form, and you add a tablespoon of water to this, obviously depending how much you're making. I'm making a 3 kilo batch, and with curing, with all the salts and cultures, you have to do it exact. Sometimes when you add the powders in, the salts in, the curing, it doesn't look a lot, but trust me, they do a brilliant job. So I've times mine by 3, so you use 0.6 grams of the culture starter per kilo of meat. So obviously I've got, 6 grams times 3 in here, same as the salt and the seasoning. So the meat I've got is venison with some beef in here, and I've got 2.5 kilo of venison and just 500 grams of beef. So for a start, you keep it quite chunky just so it will go through your mincer, and then you add your seasoning, and just give it a real good mix just so everything's coated. If you've never made salami before, I'd highly recommend giving it a go. I've got a chorizo one on my channel, but that's with more natural seasonings, and there's no culture starter in it. It's just the salt, add red wine to it. But it's really good. It's very time consuming, but the end result, fantastic. So right, that's all coated now. I've got the mincer set up, so I'm just going to put this through once on a coarse plate. So this is the first mince done. This is just with the seasoning. So we're now going to add the curing salt, and the culture, give this all a good thorough mix. Then once everything's mixed up really well, doesn't take too long with this salt and culture, there we go, that will do. We're now going to put this back through the mincer for a second time. Right, once everything is mixed and minced, it should look like this. And what you want to do is just pop it back in your fridge or your chiller just for 20 minutes. Just let everything kind of, mingle up and marry up together. Just let it all chill out a bit. And plus it will keep it nice and cold. And then what I'm going to use for my casings, ox runners, or beef middles, whatever you want to call them. These are a really nice, thick casing. And again, like my hog and my sheep runners, these come backpacked and salted. So like the hog skins in my previous videos, just take them out, give them a good rinsing, and just soak them in the water. So I'm going to have a quick clean down, put this in the chiller. These are soaking nicely, and we're going to fill these out. Right, we're ready to start filling out now, and I thought I'd show you the nozzle I'm using. This is an actual salami nozzle. It's quite large, as you can tell, but my sausage stuffer is an Italian make, Tree Spade, and they actually sent me this one free. So I've got my normal, just my normal large stuffer, a chipolata one, but this was quite a nice addition actually, and it's actually good for black pudding as well. So I'm just going to get this on. And now we're going to load this up. So I've got the barrel with my stuffer, and you get your mix, and it will go a little bit tacky now at this stage, which is good. And you want to put it obviously far as you can, and then push. So you're pushing out all of that air, because you don't want any air pockets in this. So hear all the air coming out. Just keep pushing it down, just taking your time. And that is all of the mix in the barrel compressed down. So that just goes back to the cradle, and then let's start stuffing. Right, the stuffer is now loaded up with the beef runners. I've just got a tea towel underneath. This just catches any excess water, just saves it going everywhere. I've primed it now, so we've pushed the air out manually, and I've cranked down with the handle, and there's a valve on the back of this, and that's just let the last little bit of air out. So all we do now is just slowly and carefully ease these off to fill out these beef middles. It doesn't matter if you get a little bit of excess coming out, because when we tie it off, that will ensure that there is no air in there at all. And just really slowly fill these out. Just keep helping it off the nozzle. It's like I keep saying, you want it as compact as possible with meat. But like I say, you can make these any sizes you want. You can make the normal like thick sausage size if you want, but like I said, this salami nozzle, it does produce a really nice size salami. So keep feeding it. So now I stop about 3 inches from the end, and I've pre-cut some butcher's twine. So I'll just take it off, squeeze it right up to the end, and just tie it off, and then repeat it again, and then make a little loop. Just makes easy hanging, just like that. And then to make the second salami, depending how big you actually want it, I'm going to go for a really big one out there. So it's the same, just put your string round, tie it off twice with a loop, and then to actually start your second one without wasting too much meat, you just cut it off in the middle, just like that. another knot and finish it with a loop, so it looks like that. Quick salami, your section to cut, then you'll continue getting your desired length. Well, here are the salamis all stuffed now. I've done 2 extra large, 2 large and 2 small, so I've got a bit of variety, but they look brilliant. Come out really well, they have, and that's 3 kilo this was. So what I'm going to do now is get a pin. I'm just going to put a few little holes. I'm not going to cover them, just a few. This just lets the air in, and then the next step sounds bizarre and it just sounds wrong. These are going to hang in here in my prep shed for about 24 hours between 15-20 degrees, and what that does is just gets all that culture and the fermentation process, you know, it gets it underway. So it sounds bizarre hanging raw meat in a warm environment, but that's what you do. So then 24 hours time, these will be hung in my chiller for 6 weeks. But what we'll do every week, I'll show you how they're getting on and how to look after them and the process. And I've just worked out these should be ready for our first shoot day, which is 30th October. So it would be nice to take one of these along just for the guns to try, really. So that's what I'm going to do now, get some holes in these, get these hung up, and then we'll see these in a week's time. Well, this is week 2 of the venison salami. I didn't do the week 1 because, to be honest, from the point of drying it out for 24 hours at room temperature up until now, it hasn't changed much at all. It goes dark and obviously the skins dry out. It's got a lot firmer now, and if you can see, it's just starting to get the white mould. So what I'm going to do is leave that for the time being. I'm going to watch the mould, because some people like to keep the mould on it and others wipe it off, but what I'm going to do is show you how to wipe it off, and I'll keep some on. But yeah, so this is looking good now after week 2, so we'll check on it in 7 days time. Hey guys, week 3 now with the salami, and as you can see, like from the second week, the only real difference again is just the amount of mould we're getting now. You can see they've got some nice white spores, and with the mould, white is good. Anything else, that makes something's gone wrong, got bacteria in it, or the meat wasn't good. But these are looking really good, and what I'll do next week on week 4, if you don't want to keep the mould on, I'll show you how to get rid of that. But now these are looking really good, and every time I open up the fridge, you can really smell them now, and they're drying out well. They are firming up nice. Yeah, they are firming up really good. So these got another 3 weeks to go. Right then guys, we are at week 4 with the venison salami, and as you can see, they have got a really good covering of white mould. And I've said it before, this is normal. They are drying out a treat, they're getting firmer. Every time I've showed you these, to be honest, they don't look much different, but obviously all the work is going on inside. But I'm really happy with these. So I'm going to show you how to clean off this mould. You don't have to clean it off if you don't want to, but some people, they might not think that's very appetising. So what I've got here is, this is just normal cider vinegar. It's 2 parts vinegar to 2 parts vinegar, sorry, to 1 part water. And you need to use a white vinegar, so apple cider vinegar or white wine vinegar is fine. And just a bit of kitchen towel. So what you do is just put it in, squeeze out the excess mix, and all you do, don't get them too wet, but you just wipe it, just like that. And me personally, I don't get every bit off, I just wipe it along each salami, just like that, because obviously the acidity in the vinegar kills. I mean, there's no bacteria on these, because otherwise I wouldn't be having white mould, but you know, it does just help you know, treat it a bit with for bacteria if there's any about. But like I said, there's nothing on these. And try to wipe them dry best you can, because you don't want it to get tainted with the vinegar. But I'm not going to do a clip on week 5, because to be honest, they won't look any different. So once I've got all these cleaned up and hanging back in the chiller, the next time we will see these is when they're ready, and we're going to cut them. As I said, they're firming up really well. So I'm happy with these so far. And what you can do is, what I'm going to do is turn them the opposite way. So they've been hanging this way for about 4 weeks. So I'm going to hang them up that way. It's just something I've always done. I just think it gives it a bit of, you know, you're just changing it up a bit. But this is the cleaning stage at week 4. Well guys, 6 weeks later, this is the salami's done. They're firmed up really well. They had that mould on them that we wiped off, and it's just started to come back through. So what I'm going to do, slice some of this up now. Look at that. That looks really good, that does. That is really nice. You can imagine some olives, some feta cheese, nice glass of red or a cold ale. I mean, that, I'm really impressed with that. You've got a nice little bit of fat running through there, and that is cured an absolute treat. So there we have it guys. Venison salami made in 6 weeks. It's been a long process, and to be honest, it's been worth it. I'd say the hardest part really was actually making it all. I mean, the curing, it looked after itself really. I just checked it every day just to make sure everything was looking good. Wiped off the mould, and then 2 weeks later, like I said, it's just started to come back through. But that is a really nice salami. So I hope you like this one. And if you want any more information on the kit I've used and these seasonings and all the cultures, just drop me a message and I'll happily post you a link.